Have you ever met a woman who isn't the youngest in the room, who doesn't wear the trendiest clothes or speak the loudest words, yet somehow everyone turns when she enters? Men notice her. Women admire her. There's no obvious explanation. It's not about beauty, nor wealth, nor even charisma in the conventional sense. What she possesses is something far deeper. Carl Jung might have called it a magnetic integration of the self, a rare balance between confidence, mystery, and authenticity. Not a mask, not a performance, a presence. And here's the truth that presence can be cultivated. In Jungian psychology, we don't chase surface illusions, we seek what lies beneath. True attractiveness isn't born from trying harder, talking more, or dressing provocatively. It flows from the inner structure of a woman who has made peace with her shadow, claimed her independence, and embodies a radiant sense of worth. You see, the psyche is always communicating through body language, voice, posture, even silence. Whether we realize it or not, we're constantly telling the world how we believe we deserve to be treated. Some women unconsciously broadcast neediness, self-doubt, or a desire to be chosen. Others rarely emanate something different, a sense of being complete in themselves. And that is what draws people in. In this video, we're going to uncover 6 powerful habits that make a mature woman truly irresistible. These are not manipulations or games. They're psychological truths grounded in both modern behavioral science and Jung's timeless insight into human nature. Each habit will take you closer to what Jung called individuation, the journey of becoming whole. Because here's what no one tells you: you don't need to compete with youth. You don't need to dress louder, speak faster, or try harder. You don't need to chase love to be worthy of it. What you need is awareness and the courage to live in alignment with your deeper self. That kind of presence doesn't beg, it doesn't cling, and it never tries to become what someone else wants. It simply is. And that is what people can't look away from. So if you've ever felt overlooked, if you've ever wondered why some women command attention without trying, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll see how even one shift in your behavior or mindset can completely change the way others respond to you, and more importantly, how you respond to yourself. The 6th habit. Well cover might just be the most life-altering of all. Let's begin this journey not with the goal of getting the guy, but with a much higher aim, becoming the woman who no longer needs to chase what she naturally attracts. Are you ready to meet her? Let us begin where the visible meets the invisible with confidence, but not the kind that shouts, poses, or pretends. Carl Jung taught that true power emerges not from the persona, the social mask we wear, but from the deeper self, the part of us that has faced the shadow and chosen to stand anyway. So when a woman enters a room and is immediately noticed, not because of her clothes or makeup, but because of the energy she radiates, that is not coincidence. That is the self quietly but commandingly announcing its presence. Confidence in the Jungian sense is not arrogance. It is not built on praise or perfection. It is built through integration, through knowing oneself, the light and the dark, and choosing wholeness over performance. And that is precisely why it is so magnetic, because it's rare. Most people don't realize this, but we are biologically and psychologically wired to respond to certainty. In a world of noise, someone who moves with grounded self-assurance is like gravity. You feel it before you understand it. Men especially are drawn to this unspoken signal. It doesn't ask for attention. It doesn't apologize for taking space. It embodies worth. Now ask yourself, how do you enter a room? Do your shoulders slump? Does your gaze drop? Do you scan for approval before settling into yourself? These are not small details. They are the external language of the inner world. When Jung described the individuated person, he meant the human who no longer needs external validation to feel whole. She is no longer ruled by the archetype of the pleaser or the invisible woman. She has retrieved her projections and reclaimed her power. This kind of woman walks upright, not because she wants to be seen, but because she sees herself. And here's the good news: you can become her. Confidence is not a gift, it is a practice. Begin by changing your posture. Your body carries your psyche. When you stand tall, you send a message not only to others, but to your own unconscious. I belong. I matter. Speak more slowly. Jung emphasized the value of reflection over reaction. A calm, measured voice implies inner strength. Don't rush to fill silence. Let your words land. Let space speak for you. And most importantly, stop seeking permission. You do not need to shrink to be accepted. You do not need to earn presence. You already have it. Let that be the start of your transformation. In the next part, we'll go deeper into a behavior that flips the dynamic of attention and desire completely. But for now, remember, this confidence is not what you say. It is what you no longer need to prove. And that in itself is irresistible. In the intricate dance of attraction, there's an invisible force more powerful than beauty or charm. It is the ability to remain centered within yourself. Jung might have called it the strength of the individuated woman, the one who does not lose herself in the presence of another, especially not a man. Let's speak. Plainly, clinginess is not about love, it is about fear. And fear, when unexamined, projects itself onto others. It creates dependency, anxiety, and an urge to control. But when a woman lives from her center grounded in her own purpose, she does not chase. She invites. And in that invitation, she shifts the entire dynamic. Jung taught that we all have unconscious parts of ourselves that seek to be healed through relationships. If a woman has not met her inner child, the part that fears abandonment or invisibility, she may cling to romantic connection as a source of identity. She may confuse constant contact with intimacy or mistake attention for affection. But in truth, real attraction thrives in space, not suffocation. Have you ever noticed how someone becomes more attentive the moment you stop trying so hard? When you become less available, more at ease in your own rhythm, people begin to notice. This isn't manipulation, it's nature. We value what isn't constantly in our grasp. Desire, by its very definition, lives in tension, in uncertainty. In Jungian psychology, this is known as projection and withdrawal. When we project our needs onto others, especially the need to be wanted, we unknowingly burden the relationship with our unmet selves. But when we withdraw that projection and integrate our desires, we gain freedom. And with that freedom comes power not over others, but over ourselves. So what does this look like in real life? Imagine two women. One constantly texts, overthinks every silence, checks her phone, hoping for a sign. Her energy radiates uncertainty, a craving for reassurance. The other, she responds when she has time, engages when she's inspired, not out of game playing, but because her life is already full. She is anchored. She trusts that what's meant for her won't pass her by. Which one do you think commands more respect? Which one causes a man to wonder, to lean in, to pursue? It's the second. Every time. This is what Jung meant when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." The woman who doesn't cling has claimed that privilege. She doesn't confuse silence with rejection. She sees it as space. And in that space, something magical happens. She becomes the chooser. She no longer waits to be picked. She evaluates. She observes. She listens to her intuition. Men are not drawn to women who demand energy. They are drawn to women who generate it. To implement this, practically start by examining your patterns. Do you panic when someone pulls away? Do you feel the urge to fix the gap, to reach out first, to make sure he hasn't forgotten you? Pause there. Instead of acting, reflect. Where is that urgency coming from? Is it about Highmore, about a wound from your past? Jung urged us to bring the unconscious to light, because until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Now is your chance to break the pattern. Let your day be full without him. Build a life that makes you feel alive. Go to the gym, start a project, read something that challenges you, laugh with friends, not as a performance, but as a practice of self-devotion. When a man senses that your world doesn't collapse without his presence, he respects you more. Why? Because you respect yourself. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about being hard to forget, because your energy is unforgettable. You are not a tide waiting for someone else's gravity. You are the ocean complete in yourself. And here's the secret Jung would whisper to you if he could. The more you cling, the more you reveal that you are not yet whole. But the moment you let go, not out of coldness, but confidence, you reclaim your wholeness. That's when the game changes. That's when you stop chasing and start attracting. In the next section, we'll explore how personal style becomes a mirror of your inner energy. But for now, remember this detachment is not indifference. It is inner security expressed outwardly. And when a woman radiates that the world can't help but follow. Carl Jung once wrote, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another." There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. The same holds true for style. Style is not about fabric or labels. It is the external echo of your inner truth. A woman's personal style, when it is authentic and self-defined, becomes a symbol of her psychic integration. It is not what she wears, but why she wears it that commands attention. In a world of trends, the woman who understands herself becomes timeless. Many women unconsciously dress not for themselves, but to meet outer expectations, an archetype Jung would have called the persona, the mask we wear to please the collective. But magnetism does not arise from conformity. It arises from wholeness, from having met the self and chosen to express it boldly without apology. When your image aligns with your inner essence, it sends a silent message to the world: I know who I am. This isn't about aesthetics, it's about psychological congruence. Imagine a woman who walks into a room. Her clothes fit not just her body, but her energy. She doesn't follow fads. She wears colors that mirror her mood, accessories that whisper of her story, her posture, her gaze, her movement. They harmonize into one unmistakable presence. She doesn't speak loudly, but she is seen. Why? Because when a woman becomes integrated, when her outer appearance reflects her inner clarity, she becomes symbolic, and the psyche responds deeply to symbols. Carl Jung often emphasized the symbolic power of image in dreams and myths. A red dress is never just a red dress. It might signal vitality, sexuality, or a need to be seen. In real life, your choice of clothing also speaks before you do, not in superficial ways, but in subconscious language. Are you wearing armor or invitation? Are you blending in or standing as yourself? A woman who masters her style is not obsessed with perfection. She is fluent in symbolism. She knows the energy of navy speaks of authority. She knows that flowing fabrics invite softness. She chooses lipstick not to impress, but to express. And in doing so, she crafts a visual identity that matches her inner one. This is individuation in action, Jung's lifelong theme. The bringing together of opposites, the merging of the seen and the unseen. And the most irresistible women are not the most done up, they are the most true. So how do you create style from the self, not the persona? You start by asking, what makes me feel powerful? What textures, colors, and silhouettes mirror how I want to move through the world? You begin to edit out what feels performative. You lean into what feels alive. And from there, your presence becomes unforgettable, not because you tried, but because you aligned. In the next segment, we'll explore a deeper form of power, feminine energy as magnetism, not manipulation. But first, look in the mirror and ask, does my reflection tell my truth? Carl Jung understood the psyche as a delicate balance of masculine and feminine energies within each of us, what he called the animus and anima. These inner forces shape not only how we see the world, but how we are perceived by others. When a woman connects with her anima, her authentic feminine essence, she radiates something far beyond physical attraction. She emits energy, and that energy magnetizes. But feminine energy is often misunderstood. It is not submission. It is not passivity. It is not about shrinking to please or remaining silent to be accepted. Jung would say those behaviors are the shadow expressions of femininity, driven by fear, not power. True feminine energy is receptive, but not passive. It influences without control. It attracts without chasing. In today's culture where speed and certainty dominate, many women have unknowingly abandoned this energy. They hustle to fill the silence plan every interaction and take control of every step, believing that control equals power. But in doing so, they disconnect from the very quality that makes them captivating presence. Presence is being, not doing. Think of the most magnetic woman you've ever seen. She didn't need to speak loudly or be the center of attention. Her very being held a quiet command. She was open, yet discerning. She listened with her eyes. She smiled with intention. Her silence was not awkward, it was electric. This is the art of feminine energy. And it is not a performance. It is a return to essence. Jung's concept of individuation, the process of becoming whole, requires the integration of both active and receptive forces. A woman who honors her feminine energy does not suppress her ambition or intellect. She balances them with grace, intuition, and stillness. She trusts that what is meant for her will not need to be chased. This mindset shifts everything. In relationships, she doesn't pursue affection. She allows others to step toward her. She doesn't over-explain or demand validation. Her presence speaks louder than her words. She doesn't need to impress. She simply is. This energy is rare, and that's what makes it irresistible. So how can you begin to embody this? Start with awareness. Notice when you're acting from fear rushing to respond, explaining too much, trying to earn attention. Pause. Breathe. Come back to your center. Practice stillness. Not just silence, but a calm inner confidence. Allow space in conversations. Let mystery do its work. Remember, what is not immediately revealed becomes deeply intriguing. Feminine energy is not about what you say or wear. It's about how you make others feel. It's the energy of a woman who knows she is whole and does not need to grasp to prove it. In the next part, we'll explore the power of voice and silence, how the way you speak can awaken fascination or extinguish it. But for now, ask yourself, do I radiate or do I reach? Because true power never chases, it draws the world in. Carl Jung taught that most of us walk through life not as our true selves, but as masks, what he called the persona. It's the role we play to gain approval, to feel safe, to belong. But when it comes to true connection, especially in romantic relationships, the mask creates distance, not closeness. Nowhere is this more evident than in how we communicate. So many conversations are filled with performance. We speak to impress. We over-explain to control outcomes. We talk excessively to avoid silence, not realizing that silence is where depth lives. But a woman who knows herself does not speak from the mask. She speaks from the self, that deeper, authentic core that Jung believed we all must strive to integrate. Her words are intentional, not reactive. She listens to understand, not to reply. And in doing so, she builds intimacy, not through volume, but through presence. The art of conscious conversation is not about being the most entertaining or dominant voice in the room. It's about inviting the other person's psyche to meet yours, and that requires vulnerability, restraint, and self-trust. Let's break this down. Intentional silence. Jung believed that much of the unconscious reveals itself through what is not said. A mature woman understands that silence is not something to fear. It's a space, a canvas, and within that space, energy builds. She uses silence to create gravity, to make her words matter more, to invite curiosity rather than flood it. Asking depth-oriented questions. Instead of surface-level small talk, she gently probes with thoughtful questions. What part of your past shaped you the most, or what does freedom mean to you? These questions bypass the persona and speak directly to the shadow, the hidden rich terrain of the psyche. And when a man is invited to explore that terrain, he feels seen in ways he didn't know he craved. Holding back, not hiding mystery, is not secrecy. A conscious woman knows that revealing everything at once drains intrigue. She shares with discernment, not out of manipulation, but out of respect for herself and for the pacing that true connection requires. Tonal awareness. The way she speaks carries as much power as what she says. Her tone is calm, measured, and warm, not because she is suppressing emotion, but because she is rooted. Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." That voice, steady and centered, reveals that she has claimed that privilege. Emotional regulation. Perhaps most importantly, she doesn't speak from triggered states. She pauses before reacting. She allows her emotions to inform her, but not hijack her. That is the mark of a psychologically mature communicator. In the next segment, we'll explore independence, not as isolation, but as the fertile soil from which magnetic energy grows. But first, remember this: the most powerful voice is not the loudest. It is the one that speaks with integrated awareness from the depths of the self, not the armor of the persona. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And perhaps nothing reflects this more than a woman who lives with quiet independence, not to defy others, but because she no longer seeks to be completed by them. In our modern culture, women are often praised for devotion, for sacrifice, for being ride or die. But Jung would ask, is this devotion a conscious choice or a hidden plea for validation? Is it an act of love or the unconscious reaching for worth through another? A woman who is truly magnetic, who possesses what Jung called individuation, does not orbit around someone else's gravity. She is the gravity. Her independence is not rebellion. It is integration. the psychological maturity of knowing that her value does not hinge on external approval or attachment. Let's explore what this looks like in daily life. 1. She has her own inner compass. Jung taught that the self must become the guiding force, not the ego or the shadow. The independent woman lives by her own internal compass. She seeks her own truth, not because she's closed to others, but because she knows the cost of being led by someone else's map. She welcomes partnership, but never at the expense of her path. 2. She doesn't need, she chooses. Many confuse independence with coldness, but it is the opposite. To choose someone when you don't need them, that is real love. That is power. This woman does not depend on a man to rescue her from loneliness, insecurity, or stagnation. She has faced those shadows and made peace with them. And so when she loves it, is with freedom, not fear. 3. She prioritizes growth over approval. Jung believed life's meaning emerged through personal transformation. The independent woman lives this truth. She reads, she travels, she learns not to impress, but because evolution is sacred to her. She outgrows environments that stifle her, even if it means being misunderstood. And in doing so, she becomes unforgettable, not because she chases attention, but because she embodies presence. Sapur. 4. Her life is full with or without a partner. She doesn't wait to be taken to new places. She books the ticket. She doesn't need a companion to feel valid, though she welcomes aligned ones. Her hobbies, passions, and routines aren't placeholders. They are expressions of a whole self. Jung might call this a woman who has met her inner masculine, what he termed the animus, and made peace with it. Or She is her own sanctuary. Perhaps most powerfully, she feels safe in her own solitude. While many run from stillness, she finds herself there. Her peace isn't conditional on someone texting back, committing, or noticing her. Her sanctuary is internal, and that radiates. In our final conclusion, we'll explore how all 6 behaviors are not techniques, but reflections of a psyche that has begun the great journey inward toward wholeness, toward light, and toward sovereign love. Stay with us. Carl Jung once observed, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And perhaps that is the quiet invitation behind every habit we've explored, an awakening not into perfection, but into presence. Throughout this journey, we've uncovered 6 behaviors that don't merely attract, they reveal the deeper integration of the self. True allure is never manufactured. It is not stitched together with trends or temporary charm. It is the natural radiance that emerges when a woman steps into her wholeness. Confidence, detachment style, feminine energy, conscious conversation, and independence. These are not tips from a dating guide. They are psychological thresholds. Each one reflects a stage in the inner journey of individuation, the process by which we become who we are meant to be, not who the world has told us to be. What makes you truly irresistible is not what you wear, say, or post online. It is the frequency you emit when you no longer betray yourself for belonging. When you stop proving and start embodying. When you stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start declaring, "I am whole." In that moment, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing love and start attracting resonance. You stop settling for attention and start receiving respect. You stop shrinking and the world leans in. This is the magnetic field of a woman who knows herself. So let me ask you, which of these behaviors felt like a mirror? Which one made you pause and reflect? This is where I need to grow. I invite you to share it in the comments. Your story might resonate with another woman watching. Your insight may be the spark someone else needs. This is not just a video, it's a circle, a space for conscious women to reflect, to grow, and to support one another. And if you found value here, if something stirred within you, made you think, yes, this is what I've been needing to hearten, subscribe to the channel. Join this journey of deep psychology and conscious femininity. We are building something that goes far beyond surface-level content. We are stepping into the deeper layers of the feminine psyche guided by timeless wisdom. Because at the end of the day, the most captivating woman is not the one who knows all the answers. She's the one who dares to ask better questions, the one who listens inwardly, who evolves constantly, and who becomes magnetic, not by trying, but by being. So stay curious, stay sovereign, stay growing, and remember, as Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Make it conscious, make it yours, and if you haven't already, tap subscribe. This journey is just beginning.